Good evening. We'd like to welcome you to our Elmore County Commission work session dated Monday, July 9, 2018. I'd like to call this meeting to order. We'll begin with regular business, a review of the minutes of the June 25, 2018 Commission meeting. Any corrections? Any comments or corrections there? We'll proceed then with a review of the memorandum of warrants for the period of June 20, 2018 through July 2, 2018. Mr. Byer?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, for the period stated, the memorandum of warrants was $1,309,620.43.
Thank you. Any comments or questions there? We'll proceed then with old business. We have a discussion of the opioid litigation representation. As many of you are aware, we've had presentations by multiple law firms regarding potential opioid litigation. This is a nationwide crisis and something that we take very seriously here in Elmore County. We've tasked Mr. Courtney, our legal representation, with an assignment to do further evaluation of some of the law firms that have made presentations to us. I'm going to give him an opportunity to make a report, and then we'll have any additional comments from commissioners. Mr. Courtney?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I'm pleased with the progress of the information gathering process. I think we've got some good firms to choose from, but knowing that some of the commissioners are attending the NACO conference in, I believe it's in Nashville if I'm not mistaken, but anyway, I know that there is going to be an opportunity for some more information gathering there. I would hesitate to recommend that we make a decision now when there's an opportunity that you may get some more information this weekend, and I wouldn't want you to come back and go, well, gee, if we'd have known that kind of thing. So it's going to be my recommendation to the Commission to gather that information, and I can review that, and then we can go from there.
Thank you. Now, it's my understanding that the firms that have presented to us, you've been in continued correspondence with them?
Yes, sir, I have. I've been in continued correspondence with them. I sure have.
Okay. Well, Mr. Courtney and I had a discussion about that today, and I've noticed on the agenda of our NACO conference this weekend, which myself and two fellow commissioners will be attending, that there are several seminars and opportunities to discuss the nationwide opioid crisis, and we potentially can learn of some other avenues that various municipalities and counties are taking across the country. I would hope that after this we'll report to you with anything we receive, and by our next meeting we can make some final decisions.
I certainly think that will be the case, yes, sir.
Okay. Any comments or questions from any fellow commissioners?
Just a couple of comments, if I may, Mr. Chairman. In lieu of all these attorneys and law firms coming before us in the last few weeks, as I asked one a few weeks ago, I'll be the first to say we have an opioid crisis, but I'll also be the first to say that we have an alcohol crisis. According to our federal website, which I looked at today, there's 64,000 drug deaths a year on average in this country. And that includes illicit drugs, prescription drugs, and opioid pain medications. But there are also 88,000 alcohol-related deaths. So my concern is we've got all these attorneys coming before us, and I asked one of them, did they plan, or does he know of any law firm that plans to sue the alcohol manufacturers and distributors as they are with the pharmaceutical companies, and he said no. So I'm kind of puzzled about that when you got more people dying from alcohol, the alcohol crisis, than the opioid crisis. I don't think it's any coincidence that for the last year the airwaves and TV waves have been bombarded with commercials about the opioid crisis, and having been in law enforcement 34 years, I understand there is a crisis. But my concern is they're going to pay the lawsuits. One of the attorneys said that before us the other day. This will never go to trial. They'll settle out of court. And what happens then? My prediction is that the pharmaceutical companies will simply raise drug prices across the board, and it'll affect the general public all the way across the board because they're going to recoup their money. I see a golden opportunity here for a whole lot of lawyers to make a whole lot of money. Why do they include the county commissions, the counties, and the cities? Certainly that gives it more of a credibility when they go into, if they were to go to trial. So I'd have a deep concern about that the patients who legitimately need pain medication, and if anyone's under the assumption that that if we listen to the TV commercials, we'd think that one could be led to believe that the majority of the people on prescription opioid medications are addicts, and that's certainly not the case. I would challenge anyone to drive down to the Montgomery Pain Center or the Birmingham Pain Center and sit there a few minutes and watch the veterans that come in with lost limbs and the people that come in wheelchairs and all distorted conditions. There are people that desperately need pain medications as a way of life. So my concern is that it's going to be even harder for those to get those. I have a friend who has a disease called neurofibromatosis, better known as the elephant man disease, and he's got tumors all over his body on nerve endings. And I was talking to him the other day about this opioid crisis and the lawsuits and so forth, and he said even in the last year it's becoming harder and harder for him to get his legitimate pain medication. I talked to a local doctor here in Elmore County a couple of weeks ago about the same subject, and he said it appears not only are we going to have the insurance companies dictating to physicians how to practice, but now he predicted that a lot of physicians will simply quit prescribing opioid pain medications for fear of lawsuits. So just have some legitimate, I think, are legitimate concerns about that, and I look forward to the day when we have attorneys coming before us wanting us to sign on to do something about the alcohol crisis. And as far as the cost to the counties and cities, I would dare to say that the cost to our sheriff's department and the city municipalities is higher when it comes to alcohol-related incidences than it is in prescription drug instances. But that's just my personal opinion. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Can I say something, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
If you remember, fellow commissioner, 2 weeks ago when I was here, I had a boot on my leg because I had pulled a muscle, and I went to Southern Orthopedic Specialist, which is a good firm out of Montgomery. They have an office in Wetumpka. And they told me, do not take any pain medication, what you're saying. They didn't want to prescribe it unless it was a dire situation, because, they just didn't want to. And I'm sure you know, being in law enforcement, because I use a doctor here in Wetumpka, if you get that pain medication, it has to be a written prescription. They can't email it to the drugstore. It has to be signed by the doctor in person, and you take it. So I understand what you're saying. It's a totally different situation, and I agree with you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
How many counties do we have, Jeff, that's participating in the litigation? Did they say how many counties are already on board with that?
I don't have an exact number, but by the time that it's said and done, quite frankly, I think probably every county will participate eventually.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
I can just comment briefly. I've spoken to several of our neighboring municipalities and counties and their leadership, and many of them have taken the same approach that we have in terms of having legal representation come to do presentations. Some have made decisions, some have not. They're still in the consideration stage, and I think that we'll learn a lot more this weekend from a national perspective on who is participating and what their approach is. I think one of the questions that we will have to at some point make some decisions on is what exactly, assuming that the pharmaceutical companies do just pay money out and it doesn't go to court, what would that money be used for? What are the things that we put on a local level? What could we do with any funds that we do receive that could make a difference in the opioid crisis or in anything related to that? Are there opportunities to expand the usage of those funds for other things that are general issues, alcohol, opioids, whatever it may be. So those are all questions that I think that we will continue to try and get answers on before any decision is made.
And Mr. Chairman, I certainly wasn't trying to persuade any commissioners to vote for or against this legislation. I'm simply concerned that there's no such thing as free money. I know we're looking at the attorneys getting 70, 80% of it, and the counties and municipalities getting their 20 or 30%. But I can assure you those pharmaceutical companies will recoup theirs in one way or the other. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad we're getting more information. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right, we'll proceed then to new business. Prior to that, we did have contact today with Ms. Sandra Jackson, a field representative from Senator Doug Jones' office. She requested to have a couple of minutes to simply introduce herself to the commission. So I'm inviting her up to the podium now to introduce herself. And Ms. Jackson, the time's yours.
Thank you. The blue light's on. Can y'all hear me? Okay. As Commissioner Chairman Stubbs said, my name is Sandra Jackson, and I am the field rep for Senator Doug Jones. And I want to thank you all for giving me this opportunity. I know there's a procedure that you're supposed to go through to request time before the commission, and I'm always missing certain deadlines. I don't miss all deadlines, but some deadlines I miss. So forgive me for that, and thank you for indulging me. But I did want to just introduce myself to let you all know that I'm here. We're here. I work out of the Montgomery office along with Jim Perdue. He's the regional director. I'm the field rep. And what our job is to maintain the connection between the state and local, state, and national office with the constituency, the citizens, and the communities, and find out what the issues are, opioid being a big one, find out what those issues are and take those back to the senator to see how we can help to get those things addressed. I do know there's some things going on the national level as it relates to the opioid crisis. I'm not prepared to speak on that, but one of the things that I can do, if there is an issue that you all want information on that you don't have information on, and you want to know what's happening with that on a federal level, let me know, and I can find out and either come and talk to you about it here at a commission meeting, or I can send that information to Mr. Byer to pass on to you. So you all should have my contact card. The office number is on the card, but I wrote my cell number on the back. And so either email or cell is going to be the best way to reach me. And the area that we cover, just mention that, Randolph County is 23 counties that we cover. Randolph County down to Chambers, over to Chilton, down to the Florida line, over to the Georgia line. So, and we've made a point to we've gone to every one of those counties the second quarter. So we've gone to every one of those counties, not necessarily every commission meeting because most of them meet at the same time, same day. So we're trying to juggle that. But we have gone to the counties. My intention is to go to the city council meetings to visit the cities, large, small, whatever, so that that the people in those areas know that, there's that connection with the local and the federal. So thank you again. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you. If you have any questions or need any information on anything, please let me know.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we'll proceed now with our new business. Consider setting a public hearing on July 23, 2018 for a 050 retail beer off-premises only and a 070 retail table wine off-premises only liquor license transfer application from Kim's Corner Mart, Inc. to Kim's Corner, Inc. for Kim's Corner, 44 Titus Road, Titus, Alabama, 36080. Any comments or questions there? We'll proceed now with a discussion of Productive IT LLC website design proposal. Mr. Byer?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, several of you had mentioned in the past the need to update the county's website. We currently utilize or have utilized Ingenuity, who does several other services for the county, to construct that current format that we have. That format's been in place for well over a decade, and so we've gone out and specifically Kim and Sam have done a excellent job of interviewing a couple local companies in the Montgomery area. We've got ties back to Elmore County, and this company, Productive IT, has given us a proposal that's $6,950 to basically retool the website, bring a lot of our existing data over and put it into a new format to where it's a little bit more accessible for the public, and then also put a lot of the information out in the way that we've kind of restructured the flow of the commission office and information to the public in general. So what we're asking is for you to give us approval to execute that contract and move forward with a website design, and as soon as we do that, I think we can give you a little bit better time frame of when we'd see changes. This is kind of in line with some of the stuff that we talked about at the last commission meeting, with the way that the directory has been established with the electronic format in the downstairs area of the courthouse, and tying things more to the social media feeds and the stories that we're pushing out to talk about what's going on in the county day to day. So I think we're on the right track, and if you want to know in general, this is the best proposal, not only from a price standpoint, but also from what we believe is a serviceability standpoint moving forward, so we don't keep a stagnant website. It'll take us to a format that we can do a lot more of the updating, but it also will give us the initial push to get us through to where the staff time is not just fully dedicated to making these changes.
Any comments or questions there?
Mr. Byer, that was one thing I was going to ask. You touched on there's not any, the platform that we're going to be building this on, there's not any type of proprietary platform. You'll be able to go on and manipulate the website in the future without having to incur a lot of debt for servicing.
That is correct.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
What about the companies that are located here in Elmore County?
This is one of the companies that we solicited that is from Elmore County. So
Where?
we reached out to a number of them.
Yeah, I haven't heard of them. Where are they at?
I think they have a office in Montgomery, but Mr. Wilson, the owner, is a Wetumpka native.
I know we have in Elmore County or here, ITS and Pinnacle are companies that do.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that they were interested in our website design, though, as they were as doing our other services. We use ITS for a lot of our other information services.
I knew we did.
Yes.
But I was only asking because, you know, if possible, I'd like to use Elmore County companies.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions there? All right, we'll proceed now. Consider awarding bid for software management and software e-filing system for the probate court to lowest responsible bidder, Pioneer Technology Group.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, if you'll remember, several meetings ago, the probate judge came and talked about a court management system, an e-filing system that he wanted to implement using discretionary funds. In doing his research into that, it was determined that he had to bid that out. He came to y'all, asked for permission to bid out and move forward with the project. This is the actual award of the bids. He had 2 bids received. One ended up being a no bid. The other was Pioneer, and actually the bid price was lower than some of the initial quotes that he had received. So what we'd like is for y'all to award the bids tonight, to where we can move forward with making the necessary steps to get this in place and having this move forward in this year's budget, and it'll spill over into 19 some. So,
thank you. Any comments or questions there? We'll proceed now with consent docket. Approved travel memo. Approved declaration of emergency illness request for Lisa Rucker. Approved 60 hours sick leave donation from Allison Gibbons to Lisa Rucker. Proceeding now with personnel notifications. Notification of promotion of Joel Adam Graham, GIS Mapper 2, to Chief Mapper, effective 6/26/18. Notification of hire of Peyton Haney, Corrections Officer, replace Jay Turner, effective 7/10/18. Notification of transfer of David Slay, Patrol, to Investigations, replace C. Curley, effective 7/2/18. Notification of transfer of Jacob Turner, Corrections Officer, to Process Server, Civil Division, effective 7/2/18. Notification of April Dennis, Dispatcher, advancing from Tier 1 to Dispatcher Tier 2, effective 7/8/18. Notification of hire of Andrea Smith, Tag Clerk, replace J. Shaw, Probate Clerk, effective 7/9/18. Reports to the Commission. Mr. Byer.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, the one item I want to report to you this evening is in front of you. You've got a copy of a picture of a plaque and some background documentation that our EMA Director, Eric Jones, provided. 2 weeks ago, on a Thursday, Eric and his staff were responding to a drowning incident here in Wetumpka, and that was the last day of his EMA Preparedness Conference in Birmingham. Well, that day was also the day that they gave out awards for preparedness programs. And so last week, an official with the ACCA stopped by and gave Eric this plaque, and kind of surprised him because he had no idea that we had been awarded. But he wanted to share with you, and I did as well, the fact that we were awarded the Preparedness Program of the Year for medium-sized counties for our Safer Place program. Many of you know that every time we have severe weather, we will open up a number of locations across the county. Some are county-owned, but many of them are privately owned. And I believe we currently have 21 locations that are considered a safer place that Eric and his staff have worked diligently with to help establish. So wanted you to have some information on that. We'll be working on a post about that in the next few days, now that we've got all the information, but something that you should be not only aware of but proud of in terms of our EMA being recognized once again for a innovative and effective program in the state. Mr. Chairman, that's all I have in way of report. Do y'all have any questions or comments for me?
Thank you. We'll proceed now with reports from the Commission. We'll begin with Commissioner Holt.
Ms. Jackson, I'd like to thank you for coming, because I know how valuable time is, and you're here to address us, and I appreciate that. And invite us to call you if we want to get information about our in Washington from our senators. I appreciate that a lot. John, I appreciate you being here and all the other people, and I want to congratulate you on your win as probate judge, and I know you'll be a good one. And appreciate you being here, and I appreciate the rest of y'all being here. So anytime that y'all want to come, you feel welcome, because we'd like to have you, and we want to be transparent and discuss things openly and freely among ourselves and with y'all. And I'm looking forward to working with you, John. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Daughtry.
I certainly echo everything Commissioner Holt said, and I also like to commend our Highway Department, our EMA Department, and particularly the 20, I think I'm correct, in 20 volunteer fire departments in Elmore County. A few nights ago when we had the severe weather, I think probably all 20 volunteer fire departments were out there. It's easy to take these folks for granted, but when something like that happens, they don't hesitate for a minute to get out there and cut trees out of roadways and take care of people and check on people, and so I certainly want to commend them for what they did the last few nights. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Mercer.
Thank you, Chairman. I just want to say what a good job I think our EMA is doing. They are always on the job. Anytime we have any kind of event in the county, whether it be weather related. I know last week we dealt with the drowning situation they had in Wetumpka, and then the tragedy that took place over in the Redland area even this weekend. They supplied some county assets for that response. So This award that we've received here, the through our EMA, that does not surprise me at all. Eric Jones does a great job, and we appreciate that. Mr. Byrd, when I passed by Highway 14 in Kinsley and Grandview today, I saw that they were putting up some poles, I believe, for the traffic signals. Do you have any kind of update on that?
No, sir.
We're still on schedule for getting that?
We're still on schedule. I think we're expecting to get some striping down in the next couple of weeks as well. And we were actually, the picture you sent me was kind of a surprise this morning to see they were out there progressing. So, but it seems like everything is on schedule. Yes.
Good. That's a very important project for the west side of the county, and I'm glad we're able to stay on track with that. Appreciate everyone being here tonight. We do this every 2 weeks, and please come back. Chairman, that's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Reeves?
Yes, I was, thank everyone for being here today. And I was sitting down with Mr. Byrd. We went over some things about personnel and that things that we had been talking about for a while. So I think we just about 90% ready to bring it to the full body of the commission to be voted on. And I think we took comparison from other counties our size and surrounding counties. You know, we've been losing people. We've been a training ground for other counties. So we've been losing a lot of employees. It's been costing this county a lot to bring somebody in, train them, and then once they get trained and get all the necessary stuff, then another county hire them off and they don't have to do anything. So pretty soon I think we'll be ready to get the pay scale, the comparison, and salary study, what we've been doing. We'll be able to bring it to you pretty soon. We want to thank Mr. Byers for his tireless effort along with the department head for what they have done. Thank you.
Thank you. I echo my fellow commissioners. Ms. Jackson, we appreciate you being here. It is a great opportunity that we have to communicate with our leaders in Washington, D.C., and we as local officials have the opportunity to be on the ground and to hear what our citizens' concerns are, and we'll gladly share those things with you as well. I know that obviously opioids was on the discussion today, but broadband access for our rural areas is a priority for us as well. I know my fellow commissioners mentioned a couple of tragedies that have taken place in our area very recently. One, the drowning of a young man a few weeks ago in the Coosa River, and that is a stark reminder of the dangers of the river, and this is not something that this wasn't the only time that this has happened. We've unfortunately had several in the last 4 or 5 years. One was a young man who I was a football coach for, who died in the river 4 years ago. And when I think about our young people during the summer and the challenges that they face and the decisions that they have to make, I would encourage each of us to look for ways in which we can engage these young people in the summer and give them opportunities to challenge themselves and to improve themselves and to participate in things that might provide them with opportunities to enjoy themselves during the summer, but also in a safe manner, and to continue to educate about the dangers of the river. And then, of course, in the Redland community, over this past weekend, we had the tragedy of a murder-suicide and the burning down of a home. And this is something that, as you communicate with people who are close to the family or close to the community, obviously no one says that they saw it coming or there were no signs, or you hear a lot of comments and phrases like that. But I would encourage all of us to be forever cognizant of anything that you see, and if you see something, say something. If you have an opportunity to prevent an incident like that just by an observation that you have, it will be something that will be can change the eternities in terms of the consequences of some of those actions. So we continue to pray for the Orsi family and the children that have survived the incident. And I know that the Redland community is and the school system has been providing counselors throughout the day today at Redland Elementary, and I know they'll continue to do that until school begins, and then hopefully the children can get back into somewhat of a normal routine and be around people that they know and love. I look forward to being with some of my fellow commissioners and others at the NACO conference this weekend, and to return with some information and opportunities for us to improve Elmore County. I'll turn the time over now to Kim for important calendar dates.
Excuse me, as mentioned, the NACO annual conference will take place this Thursday, July 12th through Tuesday, July 17th in Nashville. Saturday, July 14th is the next countywide cleanup day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the locations listed, noting the rotating location is the town of Elmore Annex, and Monday, July 23rd is our next work session with the business meeting following.
Thank you. We'll reconvene shortly. I'd like to welcome you to our Elmore County Commission business meeting dated Monday, July 9, 2018. I'll call this meeting to order. We'll begin with an invocation offered by Commissioner Mercer, following which Commissioner Holt will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for allowing us to come to here tonight, Lord. We thank you for loving us, Father, when we sometimes don't deserve it. Father, we ask that you be with the Orsi family here in our county, Father, the tragic events that's affected their family. We ask you that you continue to be with our volunteers and our first responders, Father, in our county. And we just ask that you give us guidance. So, Lord, we thank you for letting us have the opportunity to serve our county, and in the process serving you, Father. I ask to say in your name, amen.
Amen.
Let's stand, please. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Kim, would you call roll?
Commissioner Holt?
Here.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Here.
Chairman Stubbs?
Here.
Commissioner Mercer?
Here.
Commissioner Reeves?
We'll proceed now with regular business. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the June 25, 2018 Commission meeting as presented during the work session?
I make a motion.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Is there a motion to approve the memorandum of warrants for the period of June 20, 2018 through July 2, 2018?
Motion approved.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Proceeding now with new business, is there a motion to approve setting a public hearing on July 23, 2018 for a 050 retail beer off-premises only and a 070 retail table wine off-premises only liquor license transfer application from Kim's Corner Mart, Inc. to Kim's Corner, Inc. for Kim's Corner, 44 Titus Road, Titus, Alabama, 36080.
I make that motion.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Is there a motion to approve Productive IT LLC website design proposal?
Motion approved.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Proceeding, is there a motion to approve awarding bid for software management and software e-filing system for the probate court to the lowest responsible bidder, Pioneer Technology Group?
I make a motion to approve it.
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Proceeding now, is there a motion to approve the consent docket as reads?
Second.
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reeves?
Proceeding with personnel notifications, notification of promotion of Joel Adam Graham, GIS Mapper 2 to Chief Mapper effective 6/26/18. Notification of hire of Peyton Haney, Corrections Officer, replace Jay Turner effective 7/10/18. Notification of transfer of David Slay, Patrol to Investigations, replace C. Curley effective 7/2/18. Notification of transfer of Jacob Turner, Corrections Officer to Process Server, Civil Division effective 7/2/18. Notification of April Dennis, Dispatcher, advancing from Tier 1 to Dispatcher Tier 2 effective 7/8/18. Notification of hire of Andrea Smith, Tag Clerk, replace Jay Shaw, Probate Clerk effective 7/9/18. Any additional reports to the Commission?
I have one thing to say, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I want to echo something Commissioner Reeves said. I appreciate what you've done, he's done, and Richie's done about reevaluating our county employees and getting a system in place where we can reward them appropriately based on their service, and I think it's a great thing. So I'm glad that's happening for all of our employees in every department. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We appreciate everyone's work on that. Any additional comments?
Yeah, Chairman, I just would like to repeat, if we could please just be aware of the recent tragedies, the event that took place in Redland Road this past weekend, and also the recent drowning here in Wetumpka, and see how we can reach out to these families and support them in their real hard time they're going through. That's all I have, Chairman.
Thank you. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Second?
Ms. Kim?
Commissioner Holt?
Yes.
Commissioner Daughtry?
Yes.
Chairman Stubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Mercer?
Yes.
Commissioner Reed?
Meeting adjourned.